Since we're going through the holiday season, I wanted to bring up this topic, and I wanted to say that everyone has their own way of expressing gratitude. Some people like to write it down, they like to gift cards or write someone a nice text message, or sometimes even send a good email. Some people like to voice how they feel, so they would call someone up or have a video chat with someone, FaceTime, and let them know how they feel about them, or shoot a video about themselves conveying what they feel. Well, I like to express myself by doing acts of service or presenting something to someone that involves a lot of thought. So instead of giving someone chocolates, which I honestly think is quite unoriginal and boring, I would show up at the doorstep at 6 a.m. every single morning and drive them to work for a whole week. Something that they can deeply resonate with. And I'm specifically talking about my loved ones. I'm not talking about my colleagues or my acquaintances or those wishy washy friends that I have on my socials. Which is why I have a very small circle, because this kind of thing, it takes a lot of time and energy, and you can't really do it for like 100 people. And talking about things that I can present, I write songs. And ever since I started writing regularly back in 2019, my original stuff, I realized that I could just write songs about my crushes and I could send it to them, and that'd be a great gesture. And since I predominantly write on the topic of love, it works out perfectly in my favor. I'm sure there are a lot of artists out there who write songs, and a majority of them write songs about their crushes, and a good number of them might be sending those songs to their crushes as well. But I think only a handful will willingly admit it to their audience on camera. Because if I say it out loud that I write songs about my crushes and I send it to them, it sounds quite exorbitant, and any common guy listening to this would think that that's completely ludicrous and that I'm a lunatic for doing that. But I'm in the business of making music and writing songs. And since I write songs pretty much every day and I release a new single every week, I thought that why not just make a song for people whom I'm genuinely attracted to and would want to date. So that was a no-brainer for me. A lot of other artists, aspiring musicians, and people who are just genuinely curious have asked me about my process of writing songs and how I do it so consistently. And they often complain about something called writer's block, where a creator goes into a limbo and they're not able to create something original for a long period of time because they're exhausted of any new ideas or inspirations. I've never understood that to begin with. For me, it's the complete opposite. I have way too many inspirations and not enough time to write about them. I mean, I have one day and I want to write about 50 different things, but I can only write about so many different things. And that's where I'm at. But one of the linchpins for me as an artist is that I write about people whom I'm attracted to. And that is what I tell them, that if you want to write on a regular basis consistently, just go to a coffee shop or go hang out in a mall and find people that you're attracted to. Maybe have a conversation with them or just observe them, observe their behaviors or their characteristics, and just write about that. We have inspirations all around us. We just need to be cognitive and aware of our surroundings and our interactions. And what better way to start your journey of writing than to write about love? It's one of the predominant emotions in the world, and it's an inexhaustible topic. Every human needs love, and we all seek the significant other. So that is a mainstay in our lives, and it consummates the sphere of life. So we can always talk about that. I've only written 3 songs for my 3 crushes ever since I started releasing original music on a regular basis in 2019. I'm a very picky guy. I don't consider every single girl I like to be my crush. Now, if I'm not genuinely attracted to her and would not want to date her, she is just a surface level temptation for me. So these 3 crushes for whom I wrote these songs were girls whom I would want to take that next step forward with. The first song that I wrote for my crush was Mad Love, and this was in 2020 when I was living in Boston. I was partying with this girl, and she used to come to my house, and we used to hang out a lot. I was really close to this girl, and I was good friends with her. We instantly connected, and I was quite enamored by her. And when I released the song Mad Love, I sent it to her through a text message a couple weeks after. The second song that I wrote for my crush was this year, I think about 6 or 7 months ago. And this girl is a big personality on Twitter. I think she's kind of an influencer, and she has a ton of followers. And I really liked her personality. I liked her tweets, and I liked how authentic she was, and how genuine she was in her expression. And of course, she was red pilled. So I came across her profile, and I started reading her tweets, and I started engaging with her. I started interacting on her tweets. I started commenting. Her stuff was really engaging, and I liked how quirky and authentic she was with the way she tweeted. And she was not trying to put up any false image or a facade. And that was really attractive. But I had never spoken to her in person. I'd never really had a conversation. I just interacted with her through her tweets. So the song that I wrote for her, it was called Monica. And I mean, I give away her name in the title itself. So this song was the icebreaker for me. And when I released it, the song Monica, I sent it to her on the direct message on Twitter, and that was my way to start a conversation with her and hopefully get to know her better. The third song that I've written for my crush was very recently, like about a month ago. It's called Island Girl. And this was when I'd gone to Florida Keys. I was performing at this wedding, and I was supposed to sing at this gig, and I was being accompanied by this other girl whom I'd never met before. And it turns out that she was also from Berklee College of Music, and we both had to perform at this gig together. And I got to spend a half a day with this girl because we were on a very tight schedule. And that is one of the best times that I've had this year, because honestly, for the better part of this year, I've been living in solitude. And we clearly hit it off, and we had a really engaging conversation. So I wrote the song for her, and I sent it to her through a text message a couple days after I released it. For anyone vaguely curious, there are 3 reasons why this is a really beneficial strategy for writing songs about your crushes. The first reason is that you have an exquisite topic of focus, which really streamlines your process. Because you don't have to talk about anything hyperbolic, and you don't have to conjure up nonsense and talk about something that is born out of thin air. And secondly, these songs are really easy to write and execute. I often find myself stuck in a limbo when I'm trying to start a song or find an ending to a song, or sometimes I don't have a body for a song. And that is not a problem with the strategy, because I'm basically narrating what I feel about this girl or explaining the experience that I've had with her. And thirdly, these songs are authentic pieces of expression. Now, we've heard all those artists, talking about popping pills and toting guns, but they're not about that life. They live in a fucking mansion in Beverly Hills and eat sushi for breakfast. And these songs really strike a chord with the listener, because you can't really fake being authentic. And a listener can tell, we can tell from our instincts who's about that life and who's not. So I strictly make it a point to write songs about my deeply rooted feelings, or describing incidents or experiences that I've been through, or conscious topics. And I think that goes a long way in solidifying the quality and the integrity of your product. Another reason specific to my case that I can think of why this is a beneficial strategy is that it helps you gain confidence. So if a person may have any kind of cobwebs in their head about, people that they're attracted to and how to break the ice with them, this is a great way to do it. You can write songs about them, then release them, and then send it to them later. Now, as I'm talking about this and telling you guys about it, I don't want to come across as a psychopath or a sociopath. Now, I don't have a sieve in my head that filters out embarrassing from what is not embarrassing, and I don't do that kind of song and dance. I don't beat around the bush. I'm just very downright to the point. I say it as is, take it or leave it. And I consider myself a romantic, which is a rare fucking commodity in today's climate. So I wasn't really expecting anything from these 3 girls when I sent them the song. And it was an honest expression of my fondness for them. And I was simply thanking them for their presence in my lives. And it was really well received by all 3 of them. I'll give them that. And they didn't think that I was a creep. At least they didn't vocalize it. So that is a big plus. Unfortunately, I've lost touch with all 3 of them. Maybe they were overwhelmed with the way I approached them, or they thought that I was just twerking to get into their pants. But anyways, I don't like to dwell over my failures or my L's. I like to move on. There's 7 billion people out there. If not them, then there might be someone else who's destined for me. I personally hope for something beyond from all three, but if the energy is not reciprocated, I'll pick up my hat and leave gracefully. And hey, you only lose when you stop trying. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you resonated with this, don't forget to hit subscribe and make your mama proud.